This is Story Recapped. Today I'm going to explain a comedy sci-fi film called Coneheads. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. Everything seems calm and peaceful at the McGuire Air Force Base in Wrightstown, New Jersey, so the air traffic controllers watch reruns of Star Trek to kill time. Suddenly, they see a fast-moving object appear on the radar. Realizing that it's not a military plane, they send jets after the unidentified aircraft. The jets immediately instruct the occupants to identify themselves and reduce their speed. When they don't respond, the controllers instruct one of the jets to fire at them. The pilot of the unidentified ship activates the cloaking device, causing the aircraft to become invisible. Due to the damage sustained by the spacecraft, it plunges into the ocean. Moments later, two aliens with oddly shaped heads emerge from the water and catch sight of the New York City skyline. That night, Beldar and his mate Primat go to a motel to get a room. While Beldar is filling up the form in the office, Primat zaps the vending machine with electricity from her head, causing the machine to release coins. Primat then comes into the office and uses the coins to pay for their room. The clerk gives them a room despite their strange appearance and the indecipherable symbols on the form. Later, Beldar tries to reconfigure the TV to send a distress call to their home planet Remulok, but he doesn't have the necessary components. Beldar realizes that they'll have to blend in with the humans until they contact their home planet. Days after the crash, Beldar starts working at an appliance repair shop to get the parts he needs for an intergalactic communicator. Otto, the owner, is pleased with him because he shows up on time and performs his tasks well. While repairing a television, Beldar snatches a transistor and hides it in his sleeve. He then goes to his camper van during lunch hour to install the component for the communication device. After Primat activates the device, Beldar contacts his commander, Marlax, and tells him that their ship has crashed in the ocean. Marlax is displeased because he expects Beldar to enslave the planet by that time, but he still sends a star cruiser to rescue them. Primat and Beldar are alarmed when Marlax tells them that it'll take 7 Zerls for the rescue ship to arrive. But Primat reveals that it's not their only problem. Primat informs Beldar that she's pregnant and lifts her shirt to show the unborn conehead growing in her belly. One night, Otto asks Beldar for his social security number for the state payroll forms. Beldar tries making up some numbers, but he eventually confesses that he doesn't have one because he's an illegal alien. To resolve the situation, Otto takes Beldar to a fixer, who gives him a false identity. Beldar has to assume the identity of a man named Donald R. DeSico, while his wife's new name will be Mary Margaret Rowney. On the way home, Otto advises Beldar to get a hat for his head and do something about his sharp teeth. The name Donald R. DeSico gets flagged at the Immigration and Naturalization Services office because it's been used multiple times. When a sycophantic INS agent named Eli Turnbull learns about it, he immediately brings it to the attention of his ambitious boss, Gorman Seedling. Since the other immigrants who used the same name got away, Seedling is determined to catch the man currently assuming DeSico's identity. Soon, Beldar goes to the dentist to cap his sharp teeth. When the dentist looks inside his mouth, he is baffled when he sees 3 layers of teeth, but he carries on with the procedure as if everything is normal. While Beldar and Primat are asleep that night, Seedling and a squad of police officers arrive to arrest them. The alien couple panics when Seedling knocks on their door, but they manage to escape by breaking the wall of their camper. Beldar and Primat make a run for it, carrying their intergalactic communicator. When the agents investigate their camper, they don't find anything that indicates their country of origin, but they come across an alien suit and a card with a symbol depicting 3 crescents. Beldar starts working as a taxi driver in New York City after a few months. One night, his employer and landlord, Kudri, asks Beldar to take over his shift because a family member is sick. Beldar agrees, but before he can drive that night, Primat's water breaks to indicate that she's giving birth. When they get to the delivery room, Primat grunts in pain and expresses her hatred for Beldar as she pushes the baby out of her. After the baby gets out, the doctor asks Beldar to cut the umbilical cord, so he excitedly snips it using his teeth. At the INS office, Turnbull informs Seedling that the symbols found on Beldar's card didn't match any known language in their catalog, and the suit contains fibers that can't be found anywhere on Earth. When Seedling deduces that Beldar comes from another planet, Turnbull notes that he would be the Air Force's responsibility. However, Seedling argues that Beldar would still be under his jurisdiction, since he tried getting a job in the country. The INS tries arresting Beldar at his residence when he arrives in his taxi one night, but they only find Kudry, who tells them that Beldar moved out a week ago. During the failed raid, Seedling learns that he was just promoted because of his idea to electrify the southwest border. Turnbull wants him to keep pursuing Beldar, but Seedling argues that the next agent who will take his place should handle the case. Beldar and his family soon move to a safer community in New Jersey to raise their newborn baby. To make ends meet, Beldar works as a driving instructor. Instead of using their false identities, they started using the surname Conehead. More than a decade goes by, and their daughter, Connie, grows up to be a teenager who has adapted well to the planet despite her odd-shaped head. As the family has breakfast one morning, Beldar is appalled when he sees a tattoo on his daughter's cone. Connie reveals that it's only a decal, but Beldar still instructs her to remove it. Later, Beldar drives Connie and her friends to the mall and takes his car to the repair shop. After shopping, Beldar and the girls return to the repair shop to get their car. But Ronnie, the mechanic, tells them that it's not ready yet. Beldar castigates Ronnie for delaying them, but Ronnie tells him that there's nothing he can do but wait. When Beldar takes a seat, Connie approaches Ronnie and asks him what's taking him so long to repair their car. Ronnie unapologetically explains that he was at the back drinking beer, but Connie chuckles instead of getting mad at him. Ronnie watches Connie with admiration as she walks away. One day, Seedling gets appointed as the INS commissioner, but a senator grills him for spending $250,000 on the DeSico case during the confirmation hearing. Seedling notes that the case is still open, and he assures the Senate committee that the expenses will be worth it when they apprehend the illegal alien involved. Despite his assurances, the committee holds up his confirmation until the case is solved, so he immediately plans to continue pursuing Beldar. Soon, Ronnie takes Connie out on a date and grows more fond of her when he sees her devour a whole Subway sandwich. While Premat is shopping at the grocery, their neighbor, Lisa Farber, hints that Beldar could be cheating on her because he's been repeatedly giving driving lessons to one particular woman. At that same moment, Beldar's student Gladys drives carelessly on the road while Beldar is in the passenger seat. Gladys attempts to flirt with him, but Beldar is irritated because she doesn't seem to learn anything. At the end of the lesson, Gladys kisses Beldar on the lips, but Beldar scolds her and notes that their relationship will remain strictly professional. After a few dates with Connie, Ronnie tries making out with her while parked outside her house, but Connie stresses that she's not ready. She notes that she doesn't know how to kiss because her parents have never been affectionate, so Ronnie tells her that she just needs to lean forward and pucker her lips. After Connie kisses him, Ronnie gets excited and starts caressing her cone. Connie gets uncomfortable, so she pushes him away and gets out of his car. When Connie gets home, she tells Premat that her date with Ronnie didn't turn out well. Premat surmises that Ronnie behaved like a flandap, someone who grabs a woman's cone without permission. Beldar overhears them and immediately gets out of the house to confront Ronnie. He tears open the roof of Ronnie's car and threatens to crush his skull. Upon his return, Beldar tells Connie not to worry about Ronnie anymore, thinking it would please her. Connie, however, is even more upset because she didn't want Beldar to interfere. When Premat tries to console her, Connie asks her if she still remembers the first time she got intimate. Premat discloses that she almost didn't feel anything because it happened so fast. Connie argues that she might no longer remember, but Premat points out that she was also a young cone once. Premat reveals that she fell in love with another man before meeting Beldar. She was heartbroken when the man disappeared after working at a volcano complex, but she eventually got over it after meeting her life mate, Beldar. Ronnie tries to apologize to Beldar one day while he's playing golf with Lisa's husband, Larry. Ronnie notes that he feels miserable because Connie refuses to take his calls, but Beldar just ignores him and continues playing. Connie and Ronnie finally make up one night during a football game at their school, when Ronnie apologizes for what he did. Before the game starts, an announcer instructs the audience to look to the skies to watch a fireworks show prepared by Beldar. After Beldar lights up a rocket, the audience is initially disappointed with the mild blast. but their jaws are left hanging a while later after a burst of colorful light dazzles their eyes. While the crowd cheers, Ronnie and Connie stare longingly at each other in the field. That night, Premat asks Beldar if he would find a new mate if she passes away. Beldar contends that he will live in the dark and never leave the bed until he dies miserably. Premat is quite pleased with his response and tells him that he has made her very happy. Before going to sleep, the couple remarks that they're quite content living on Earth. While shopping for groceries one day, Premat sees Gladys in one of the aisles, but she refrains from confronting her. When she gets to the counter, she buys a handful of women's magazines. At the country club, Larry tells Beldar that he may have a shot at winning the trophy if he stays on his game. Beldar claims that he doesn't play for the award, but he looks at the trophy and imagines that the figure on top has a cone head. When Beldar gets home that day, he finds the floor lined with candles. On the refrigerator, he sees a note instructing him to consume an alcoholic beverage and search for Premat. When he gets to the living room, he finds Premat wearing a wig and lying down on the couch. She starts talking to Beldar seductively and notes that she learned from a magazine that they could spice up their coupling by doing it in places other than the bedroom. Afterward, Premat throws a device called a sensor ring on his head to start making love with him. As they get intimate, Turnbull and other agents are inside a van, listening to them. That same day, Turnbull and Seedling ring the doorbell to Beldar's house, pretending to be Jehovah's Witnesses. Beldar immediately answers the door, wearing an Abraham Lincoln costume for the Halloween party. Seedling asks Beldar about the country of their origin, so Beldar claims that they came from France. Seedling starts speaking French to test them, so Beldar and Premat respond in the same language. Suddenly, Premat senses that the intergalactic communicator is receiving a signal. She alerts Beldar that there's someone on the big phone for him, so Beldar immediately sends Seedling and Turnbull away. Soon, Beldar looks for Connie at the Halloween party and tells her that the rescue ship will be coming for them later. Connie, however, tells him that she doesn't want to leave Earth because she's in love with Ronnie. Connie asks Beldar for permission to say goodbye to him, but Beldar insists on staying together. Despite Beldar's instruction, Connie and Ronnie leave the party while Beldar stays behind to receive the Golfer of the Year award. When Beldar and Premat get home, they find Connie trying to get intimate with Ronnie using the sensor rings. As Beldar scolds them, the INS agents arrive outside to apprehend them. Soon, someone comes out of the house riding a motorbike with a sidecar. The agents chase the vehicle, but they soon discover that it's just Ronnie. Beldar and his family soon drive out of the garage to escape, but they realize they're surrounded. As Seedling approaches them, the rescue ship arrives and pulls the vehicle up. Determined to apprehend the Coneheads, Seedling clings to the car while Turnbull hangs on to his feet. Soon after they get into the spacecraft, Beldar, Premat, and Connie secure themselves in pods to sleep during the journey, while Turnbull and Seedling are locked inside a tube. As the ship enters Remulac's atmosphere, Connie wakes up and gazes at their home planet for the first time. Hours after they land, Marlax and Beldar present themselves before High Master Mentot to bring him gifts from Earth. When Beldar offers Seedling and Turnbull, Mentot notes that they'll be a good sacrifice to Kratnor. Afterward, Beldar presents him with other items, such as a tire iron winch, a manual for his car, and a condom, which he mistook for chewing gum. Mentot seems pleased with the gifts, but he is appalled when he discovers that Beldar has capped his teeth. Marlax explains that Beldar did it to blend in with humans, but Mentot contends that it's a treasonous act. As punishment, Mentot tells Beldar that he must narfle the Garthok. The ferocious beast called Garthok emerges every time the planet's 3 moons align. During this time, convicted criminals must battle with the creature to win back their honor and freedom. The first convict soon enters the arena, but he is quickly maimed by the Garthok. After the monstrous creature kills 2 more convicts, Beldar enters the arena, armed with a stick and a claw-shaped weapon. Knowing that he's no match for the beast, Beldar immediately hides within the statues. Beldar accidentally pokes the Garthok in the eye when the beast gets behind him. While he continues to hide, Beldar suddenly gets the idea to tie the claw-shaped weapon to his stick and use it like a golf club. When the Garthok tries to attack him, Beldar uses the club to shoot a stone into the beast's mouth. As the Garthok starts choking, Beldar knocks the monster out with his weapon. The audience cheers, and Mentat tells Beldar that he will grant him any request for successfully defeating the Garthok. Beldar asks for Mentat's permission to lead a contingent to return to Earth and conquer the humans. When Mentat agrees, Beldar notes that he also plans on taking the humans back to Earth. Mentat, however, stresses that one of them must stay behind, so Beldar tells him that he will take Seedling. Before Seedling and Beldar can even leave, Turnbull starts flattering Mentat in an attempt to become his right-hand man. Soon, Beldar, accompanied by his family, leads an armada back to Earth. Beldar's ship enters the planet's atmosphere first, while the others hold their positions. After landing his ship, Beldar tells the invasion force to stand ready, but he suddenly warns them about the presence of enemy laser weapons. The fleet immediately retreats upon hearing his warning. Then, Beldar configures the spacecraft's autopilot before the family abandons it. While watching it fly off, Beldar tells Connie that he took the family back to Earth because her happiness is important to him. The spacecraft explodes before it can leave the Earth's atmosphere. Upon witnessing the explosion, Marlax reports to Mentat that Beldar has died in the hands of Earthlings. Back on Earth, Beldar offers to release Seedling if he gives them a green card. Seedling stresses that he still must demonstrate a job skill that no other American possesses, so Beldar assures him that it won't be a problem. Several weeks pass, and everything returns to normal at the Conehead household. One night, Ronnie arrives to take Connie to the prom. While waiting for Connie to come out of a room, Beldar asks Ronnie to take his car, arguing that it's far superior to Ronnie's vehicle. When Connie finally comes down, Beldar takes a camera with an excessive amount of flashbulbs to take their photo. After he takes the picture, the flash leaves grid marks on Ronnie's face. As the young couple departs, Beldar and Premat look at the picture and remark that they will enjoy the memories.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.